Hello everybody, I'm Warper. Welcome to my first Victoria 3 modding tutorial, and today I'll show you how the basic structure of Victoria 3 functions and where to find what. So first of all, you will find the Victoria 3 game within the structure of this PC, then your C drive, then program files 86, then Steam apps, common, and then of course Victoria 3. Within the folder of Victoria 3, you'll have the folder game. This is the folder that you'll need, and within the folder game there are two different folders that are important for this tutorial, but in general for most mods as well. These are the common and the localization folder. The common folder is where all the data is stored within, and the localization folder is where all the UI or whatever is shown in game when it comes to languages is stored in. Now that I've shown you where you can find the different folders that are able to be modded, I will now show you in which folder you will have to make those changes. So first of all, you cannot mod these folders directly or you will modify the base game, in which case once you activate or reload Steam, it will try to update the base game again. Instead, you will have to create a mod folder. In my case, I created the mod 1.5 more unique companies within the Victoria 3 folder. The Victoria 3 folder within your documents should be generated automatically, but the mod folder itself will have to be added. This is done by opening Victoria 3 and going to all installed mods, mod tools, and then enter mod name. Here you just enter your mod name and the folder should automatically be generated. Within the metadata folder, there's a metadata.json. When opening this with Notepad++, it shows you this, and you should put in the name of your mod within the name bracket. Everything else should be fine. You will have to put in thumbnail.png if it's not already in here, but otherwise everything should be fine. When it comes to the thumbnail, be careful that you make it a square, because if it's not in the shape of a square, Steam will not take your thumbnail. I'll now show you what kind of changes can be made or can be modded within Victoria 3, and for this we'll go into the common folder. And as you can see, for example, achievements, AI strategies, alert groups, alert types, battle conditions, building groups, and so on can all be modded. In my case, for my mod, I modded companies. So in this case, company types. And if we go to the company types in the base game, you can see all the unique companies and then the basic companies. So for my mod, I just copied the company types folder, and well, as you can see, I split it up a little more, as well as created or made additions to the already existing ones. This is why mine are named a little different, because I created mine before the ones Paradox put in were in the base game. Now we come to the folders itself, and first of all, what you want to do is install Notepad++. Notepad++ is very simple to use and very simple to install. There's another tutorial for Victoria 3 that explains how to install it on YouTube. And once you've done that, you can just click on them or on the file and open with Notepad++. This will make this window pop up, and as you can see, this is the base code for each unique company. So all of this code is basic Paradox code. I have not changed anything within it, and I'll quickly go through the code with you and explain what each thing does. So for example, company group is the name that the company is given, which you will modify in the localization folder, or what you will need in the localization folder, and then change it to what it shows in game. Then the texture. Then flavored company, if they just so that the game knows that it's a flavored company. Then the building types that it influences. So in this case, Friedrich Krupp AG gives a bonus to arms industry, artillery foundries, and steel mills. Then the potential for which, or what the condition is for the company to even be shown to a certain country. In this case, have an interest in the North Germany region. Then if it's even possible for a country to build it. In this case, it is to all countries that have the state of Ruhr incorporated, even if it's only partial, or own it only partially. Then any scope building, so either steel mills, arms industry, or artillery foundry, has to be at level 11, at least level 11, so more than 10. And the technology of steel working has to be researched. And if all of that is done, a country can have the British Krupp AG as a company. Then the prosperity modifier for if the company is profitable is just more railway throughput and 10% more kill rate for your army. And then the AI weight value is 3 times higher than the average company, which makes it so the AI will take this if it can over any other company, other than other unique companies, which also have a value of 3. But you can change this. The companies, or the company that I just showed you, is just one example for how companies can look. For example, you can also replace state region, state Ruhr, with another modifier or that makes it so if a company, or not a company, if a country has an incorporated state within a certain region, then the company is possible to build or to create for a certain country. This is especially relevant for South America as well as Asia, but also some African states. And in the case of Korea, China, and Japan, they also have culture-locked companies. And these I will also show you later. As I just said, here are 2 examples for companies that are able to build in any state. So for Korea, you just have to own a state within, or that is the homeland of the Korean culture. And that's the only condition. So if you own just any state in Korea, even if your primary culture is not Korean, you are able to have the company of Dosan. And for the example I just named for Japan, here you can see the potential is locked and may only be unlocked if your primary culture is Japanese, and then if you own Kanto, you are able to have the company of Kajima. Now I want to show you what kind of modifiers exist for companies specifically, and for this I even made a small preset which has all the different modifiers within it. So for example, building group BG rubber mortality multiplier multiplies the rubber or the mortality for workers for rubber production by 10%. This is a negative modifier that exists for 2 companies, I believe. Then we have, for example, state loyalists and radicals, which may be changed. By putting a minus in front of it, you just make it go into the other direction. So for example, you can make radicals go down by putting a minus in front of it. Then country tech spread multiplier, military tech spread, innovation multiplier, and innovation max. Innovation max is a very game-breaking innovation in terms of making each country able to exceed the 200 innovation limit. Then state education access, which makes your pops more educated. Then state mortality per wealth just makes the pops less likely to die if they're richer. birth rate multiplier, migration pool multiplier, assimilation multiplier. Then buildings throughput. Instead of steel mill, you'll just put in whatever the different buildings are called. And then there are different groups of buildings. These can also be found in a group folder, but I've only put deportation and oil extraction in here because those are the only two relevant to historic companies. Then the different war-related multipliers. First of all, unit offense, defense, navy offense, navy defense, self-explanatory. Military formation travel speed, a general one. Unit mobilization speed from railways. Front advancement speed also makes the advancement of fronts just quicker, which is very nice, as your wars will always end quicker this way. Then unit morale loss, recovery rate, supply consumption. This is also very nice because you have to pay less for military goods. And then military goods cost also goes down, which also makes you have to pay less for military goods again. Then country convoys. Land trade capacity is also very nice because this is very limited within the base game. Then country prestige multiplier, influence multiplier, infamy decay multiplier, which I believe is only for US based companies. Then colony speed growth multiplier, creation multiplier, non-homeland colony growth speed multiplier, just more specific. Then here, country max weekly construction progress. This makes it so buildings are able to be built faster than the limit that is given within the game by up to 40%. Then state building port max level at 5. This is a company that China has, which just makes it so all the ports that China has are able to exceed the level cap by 5. Then state infrastructure for population, state infrastructure for population max, then state infrastructure multiplier, and just flat infrastructure additions. Then the different interest groups are able to get some extra approval permanently, which makes them less likely to rise up, or maybe you're missing some approval for a bonus, in which case this will help. And then interest group attraction. You just put in whatever interest group you want within here, and that interest group gets some extra attraction. And we also have the same thing with political strength, in which case the interest group will get extra political strength. And there are also some very interesting conditions for certain companies. For example, the vodka monopoly company for Russia requires you to not have laissez-faire. If you just cross out the not, you can also create companies that need laissez-faire, for example. Now that I've shown you all of the different modifiers that exist within companies, we're going back to the different company types and back to your mod folder and localization. And for localization, I have decided to only include English because it's just very easy to maintain and quite hard to update all of the different languages, in which case you will click on English. Oh well, first you'll import English and whatever folders within the different language folders that you need. And for example, I have imported the company's one English folder, and if I click on it, you'll see all of the different dynamic names and then the unique company names. I have added all of my personal companies within my mod, and also split the big data chunk that existed within the base folder up and put a name above it so that I know what company belongs to which country. Now I'll show you how to upload your mod. For this, you'll open your Victoria 3 launcher, and then you go to all installed mods and upload mod. Here you'll have the name of your mod, however you named it in your folder, and the option between Paradox mods and Steam Workshop. I uploaded my mod to the Steam Workshop, this is why I'll select it. and then you'll have the text that it'll display for your mod, and also the different tags that your mod may be filtered by. So for my example, my mod affects balance, economy and buildings, expansion, gameplay, and it's a historical mod. And then you can click on upload mod, and it should be uploaded to the Steam Workshop.